Hey everybody, Burger here. I've chosen for my how-to today to discuss how to change the blade on a K700 saw. A couple of things that I want to go over first. Something that we always do when we check out these power tools in the mornings is to make sure that you have on the proper safety equipment. You see I have gloves on already. I prefer we use either our bunker gloves or extrication gloves. Further, we have our fire helmet on. We can use these goggles for eye protection, or these sunglasses are department issue protective eyewear. We have clear protective eyewear, and they also prefer that we wear earmuffs to drown out the sound. So a couple things about this saw now. This saw uses regular fuel, regular gasoline, but it does need to be mixed at a 50-to-1 ratio with oil. So that means for every 50 parts of fuel, you need to have 1 part oil in there. That's what it needs to run. First thing we'll do is we'll check out the fuel, make sure that it's full of fuel in the morning. Open her up. She looks like she's got plenty of fuel. Take a look at it, make sure it's in, at least it looks good. No damage. The blade looks okay. All right. Another thing, I was talking about the oil before. These are pretty handy. It's like 1 part oil that you can mix with the fuel. It already comes ready to go for us to mix in our gallon of fuel. If not, you can always read the oil and it'll tell you how much you need to add for every part of fuel that you put. Also, we have 2 kinds of blades that we use here in our department. We have a carbide tip blade, which is the one that I'll be changing and putting on the saw today. It has like little teeth coming around it. You can see them a little bit raised down on the blade here. This blade is especially good for cutting wood. It's recommended to be used for the roofs that we know are wooden. The one that's on here right now is a diamond blade. So they call it diamond blade. This is a pretty multi-purpose blade. It does cut wood also, just like the carbide. Maybe not as well as the carbide, but it can still cut wood pretty well. But it can also cut through metal, it can cut through concrete, it can cut through just about anything that you can think of. This saw will cut it. Okay, so for the most part we try to keep one of these blades on it. We do have another saw that we keep at a carbide tip, but sooner or later it looks like we're going to be going to all diamond tip blades on our K saws. All right, we also have our handy tool here. It's an all-purpose tool. We have one for the K saws as well as our steel saws, chainsaws. It works on pretty much every nut we have on there. It also has a screwdriver tip on the other end. So let's start off by laying this on its side. These are 14-inch blades. You must use a 14-inch blade because anything bigger will be too big to fit underneath this cover, which is a protection, also a depth gauge. You can adjust it by moving it back and forth. You get depth. These 14-inch blades have a maximum cutting depth of 5 inches. Okay, that's because you have the guard here. That's as far as you can go because you'll come up to where the cover plate is at. All right, so you pick the appropriate size on the tool to go over the nut. Hold it there. There's a couple ways that you can hold the blade still. Now it's just like you've always learned, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, except now you have a free spinning blade on this. Okay, so if it's overly tight, you can get another screwdriver, stick it into the side of the blade or even through the guard, and you can stop it that way. From whichever way you turn it to tighten or loosen it, it'll stop on the cover and you'll be able to hold the blade still while you cut. Another way that I like to do sometimes, you just got to be careful not to damage the blade itself on the end, is you can get a pair of vice grips and clip that on anywhere on the blade actually, and whichever way you go to turn it, by the time it reaches either side of the cover of the blade, it'll stop the blade from rotating and you can unscrew it. So let's get down to it. And on like so, I can hold that and try to rotate the blade and hold the nut still. Just loosen it up nicely. And once it gets loose, you can finger loosen it. Right off of there. Alright, it's got a cover plate also. You got the This is the bolt here, the cover, which fits only one way. You can see there the shape on the side, the straight edges, that fits on the straight edge of the receiver on here. You just lift the blade up a little bit, slide it right out. Get your other blade, slide it right in. Depending on the job you have on the fire ground, you may need either of these blades, and you must become proficient in being able to change them very quickly. Because in an emergency, it just won't wait for you to finish what you got to do. You have to be proficient, be ready to do it. You can't be second guessing yourself. You just got to get the job done. So this way I just do it the other way. Like I said, you can lock it down, or in a hurry you can just twist the tool one way and the blade the other way to help give it a good tighten, and then you have your other blade on there, you're ready to go. Okay, now this is ready to use. Get your choke out. When you first start it up, you want to have the choke out. You got to make sure that it's set to run. There is a compression button right here. You must pull that, push that in, make sure it's in so you don't end up ripping the cord out, and pull it. You hear it maybe try to kick over one time, push the choke all the way in, make sure that compression button's in again, pull that cord, and this tool should fire up and you're good to go, ready to use your K700 saw. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I'm not going to start it up right now because then you won't be able to hear anything else. So that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time.